Live from the heart of the action. Welcome to the nerve center of Next Level Broadcasting.
This is the OB van, where the studio meets the street.
Equipped with cutting-edge cameras, crystal clear audio, real-time switching, and broadcast control, we don't just capture moments, we deliver the experience live.
Anywhere, anytime, from stadiums to red carpets, breaking news to buzzing festivals, weddings, birthdays, and all sorts of ceremonies. We bring the world to your screen in real time.
It's not just a van, it's a complete mobile production house, a command center, a broadcast beast.
This is more than a broadcast. This is the OB van difference. Live, loud, limitless.
Ready to go live? Like never before. Book the OB van today and take your event to the world. One powerful broadcast at a time.
To book, call 0705 506 1061 or 0916 101 1061. Email marketing@dominion.org.ng or visit our socials on Instagram @Dominion Broadcast.
Dominion Broadcast, your channel of choice.
Good morning, Nigeria. Welcome to a brand new week, and of course, this is Daybreak Live right here on Dominion Television, your channel of choice. I am Samson Balogun.
A beautiful morning to you as well. I'm Oluwayemi Adelakun. Thank you for joining us this morning. This is where we keep you abreast of the day-to-day happenings across the nation.
All right, there's a lot to unpack on the show this morning. First, the Daybreak gist, as the party secretary of the PDP in Nigeria, Ayaw, has said that his signature was first in the last letter sent to INEC, and most definitely we'll expand that on the show this morning.
There's a lot to unpack. Will these stop the convention from happening? That's the convention slated for next month. Of course, we'll talk about that this morning.
And most definitely, we still have the big story coming up on the show this morning. Our guest on today's edition of the big story is Barrister Wale Ojogede, and with him we'll be unpacking the sensitive topic about security, and most definitely we'll be talking about justice in the country.
And shortly before that, we'll also look at the newspaper headlines and analysis and what are people talking about, and of course, Oluwole Oluwaseun is our guest on that segment.
I will be rounding off today's edition of the Break Live right here on Dominion Television with Trend Watch, where we'll bring you buzzing stories on social media and what the people are saying on the street.
So grab your coffee and prepare yourself to join us this morning as we take you through the happenings across the country.
Shall we start?
Where's your coffee?
Already in here.
Okay.
Good morning to you, Yemi.
Good morning, Samson.
The local stunningly beautiful this morning.
Thank you, Kanzamida.
You have to tell our viewers out there what language you spoke.
Thank you, Korean.
Thank you, in Korean.
Thank you.
Right. Right. Yes, the party secretary, Ayaw, of the PDP, came out to say yesterday, said, look, there's a communique sent to INEC, which my signature is on it, about the convention of the PDP that is set to hold in Oyo State. And he said, look, my signature was forged on this one, and I am not a party to that. I mean, at a delicate time when the convention is about to happen, the secretary of the party in Nigeria is coming out to say, look, my signature was forged. I mean, what does that say about the PDP in Nigeria, the chairman of the PDP in Nigeria, and most definitely what it looks like within, the corridors of power in the country?
I think it's a very sad one to think that, the problems of PDP started in full in 2022 due to zoning. And now that the presidency has been zoned to the south against 2027, some persons are still complaining that why should it be zoned to the south? And going back to what, Ayawu said, I read some stories online and some tweets, and people are saying this is the reason why a lot of persons wanted Ayawu out, for him to be replaced by Ide Okoye, because they feel like maybe there's something about him that is not so clear, to the party members, to some of the party members, because there are several factions within the PDP. So my concern now is for something that was signed and submitted August 29. This is
And you're just
October.
coming out now to say your signature was forged.
I mean, I can't wrap my hand around it.
Now that brings
it's
us
a lot
to
unpack,
that
really.
brings us to the concern by some people in some quarters in the PDP that says, look, Ayahu is a lawyer, person to the Minister of the FCT, Nyesom Wike, and we will do everything possible to frustrate the effort of the PDP to hold a successful Congress in Oyo State. Now, as it stands, Governor of Oyo State, His Excellency Engineer Abiodun Oluwaseyi is on the opposing end. Well, as it looks, is on the opposing end to Nyesom Wike in the PDP. Recently, they had face off on the paper, having some conversation. And Seyi Makinde saying, look, some people like to be in the gutter, and I don't want to be a part of it. We'll make everything possible that we hold a successful Congress in Oyo State. Now, that being said, Nyesom Wike is on one side. He's loyal to the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. We can't say he's loyal to the APC, but he works with the APC. Now, as it stands, he's still a member of the PDP. What role is he going to play in the PDP? At least the Congress is around the corner. What role is he going to play in the Congress? Will he attend the Congress? That is one.
I don't think
will
so.
his loyalists also attend the Congress? That is true. That is where the Ayahu case comes in now. Will Ayahu try everything possible to stop this Congress?
No, if care is not taken, this whole petition might actually stop that convention from happening. And contrary to what Governor Seyi Makinde said, that regardless of whatsoever it is that Wike and his loyalists tries to do, the convention will hold. So I'm scared for PDP. This convention is a major one for the People's Democratic Party to make sure that some things are put in order. So, but if the convention will not hold, so what is the fate of PDP? Yesterday, I read a story. I watched a video where Wike was saying that those that accuse him of working against PDP in the PDP are now in the APC. So what's their gain? So well, why were they saying then that, okay, you are working for the APC, but then they are moved to the APC? So it's a sad one for the PDP. And I think that even this zoning issue is part of all that is going on the ground. So this all, my certificate or my signature was forged. It's just like the bigger picture that we are seeing.
To stall
yes, for something that was signed August 29. You didn't get to find out in September.
And yesterday was 19th. 19th of October.
Honestly,
honestly,
you don't even need to be a politician. You don't even need to know about politics in Nigeria to be able to read between the lines that something is going on. This is aimed at that convention that is expected to hold in November. And it's a very sad one. So I don't know how the PDP, or let me say the members of BOT or the National Working Committee will come into this situation now to ensure that the convention will hold against all odds. Because if care is not taken, investigation is expected to start today with the DSS and the INEC. Because he mentioned that even some persons in INEC are part of this whole thing. They collaborated to make sure that his signature was forged alongside that of the chairman. Right. So how did this happen in a party that was ruled Nigeria for 16 years? Your signature was forged for over a month, close to 2 months. You didn't find out, and few we scratched that. A week and few days to convention. You now decided to petition. Oh, no.
You see, this further highlights, the fear of some people in some quarters in the PDP that the party is really struggling, and of course, there is a lot happening within that party than what we are getting to see on the pages of the newspaper now. With the current situation, majority of the governors in the PDP, they are gradually gravitating towards leaving the party and joining the APC. And that's a big challenge. If you do not have a sitting governor, how do you intend, well, except, there are other mechanisms, probably the people wanted to vote, for the candidate of their choice. But how do you intend to win, the presidential election? I mean, just, let's leave that aside. Just like you said, scratch that. How do you intend to win your state? For some states that are currently being controlled by the PDP and then they have moved to the APC. Let's, for instance, in Delta State. Delta used to be a PDP state under Governor Sheriff. His predecessor was Okowa, who was the vice presidential candidate to Atiku Abubakar in the PDP in the last election. And with all that done with the PDP, he left the party and joined the APC. And so many other states, including Akwa Ibom, that was ruled by the PDP for so many years.
Look at Bayelsa.
Including Bayelsa.
A strong PDP state.
A strong PDP state, though Ediri resigned, and he didn't even mention which party was going to, but it was obviously clear to the people that he was going to the APC, the ruling party. And the Minister of Information came out to say, by the end of this year, 2025, APC will have about 30 states. He mentioned that they will have 30 states out of 36. Now, are we gradually moving towards one-party system, just like some people feared, including Showore, that said, look, the opposition is gradually being erased in the country. But my question is, even before this issue of governors joining the APC, was the PDP playing true opposition in the country?
Okay. I think I would say we can never get to a point where we have one-party system.
Yeah.
Because, you see...
The opposition might be weak,
yes,
but there will still be an opposition.
You see, the states that APC has found itself today, PDP was once there. There was a time that PDP had 26 governors out of 36. Even the Senate and the House of Representatives, they had larger seats, you know, as at that time. So, and then the PDP, then they started comparing themselves as, they started, you know, referring to themselves as the largest party in Africa. PDP was once in that state.
They said they would rule for 100 years.
Yes.
There was that statement. I think that was the
But it was cut short. Maybe they will come back, really. I mean, let's be optimistic. So then, APC in this state now, almost all the governors are in the ruling party. I think it's a very good one, and they should glory in this you know, state, in this moment, because we don't know what can happen in the next 5 years. Because just like we never thought a time will come that PDP will be this weak. So I don't think we can ever get to that point where we'll have like a one-party system. The opposition parties might be so weak, but then anything can happen. So it depends on the APC how they're going to play this game, whether they can retain this, just like PDP did when that party was so strong. It depends on the APC, but I don't think we can ever get to a point where we'll have like a one-party system. And I fear for the likes of Governor Dauda Lawal of Zamfara State and other governors that are saying the PDP.
A few of them, about 3 of them were listed in the north, that they were already, you know, preparing, packing their bags, trying to finalize all formalities to see that they move to the APC. Now, the challenge now is that you know, yes, everyone can, you know, decide to join a political party or the other. But the idea of you moving from progressive to being a conservative, and you moving from being a conservative to being a Labour, I mean, the issue of ideology has always been the bone of contention here. Does it align? I mean, being a progressive and then you are moving to the conservative, within you, do you think that aligns with your goals? Or do politicians, I mean, don't they have, you know, ideologies within them?
Or values.
I mean,
I don't think that is constant in Nigeria. It depends on interest, and we all know. Because I read a story yesterday where Chibode just said he doesn't know what is attracting PDP governors to APC. To APC. And I disagree, because all these people that have left, they mention one reason or the other. Just take, for instance, you know, Peter Mbava, he said, I quote him now, I fell in love with President Bola Ahmed Tinubu when they removed the subsidy. So why would you say that you don't know what is attracting them?
They are giving reasons.
They are giving reasons. They are saying it's policies. All of these people, Governor Eno said, okay, the need to align with the center. That's why I'm leaving. So all these people, all these governors, they have one reason or the other. These are the areas that the PDP should begin to look at. Okay, since these things are attracting these people to leave our party, how can we get better? And this convention can be instrumental to that. But this whole petition might make it stall. It's a big issue.
Well, before we go on that reminds me of what the president, you know, said recently. I said, look, he's happy that the PDP is in disarray, and I will never ever try to, you know, help them in any way to put the party in order. You know, it makes him, that's more or less like therapy for him. Yeah. It makes him laugh and enjoy himself when the PDP, you know, there's a crisis in the PDP. He just laughs it off. I mean, keep doing that. I mean, keep it up. So I just want to believe that the PDP also should find a way to go back to the drawing table. They have always gone there. Probably they have failed to actually do anything on the drawing table. Now that they are going back to the drawing table, the convention is very close, and that, you know, there should be something done to make sure that this problem is, you know, sorted out once and for all. I mean, back and forth. There is no week where the PDP will not come out and, you know, there will be something to talk about them. But then that's still, you know, most times it is not really the positive note you would want to see, especially in a country where that needs a strong opposition to put, you know, the ruling party in check. But if this goes on, I mean, people will begin to lose trust in the PDP as a strong opposition. They might intend to look at the other way. I mean, now let's talk about the ADC too. The challenge with the ADC now is gradually the noise is fading out. Does it mean that
I've heard the story that, you know, some persons are saying some members of the ADC are planning to move to the APC. So is that not a sad... Don't forget, members of the Labour Party have moved to the APC as well. APC, even SDP. Don't forget someone was even banned for 30 years in the SDP. These are the issues. The opposition is in total mess.
I mean, don't bother to come back. That's just
honestly,
the idea.
And what I feel is for PDP to be back on track to work again, some persons must still leave.
Yeah, right.
And they are the top shots, sadly. They must leave. And the PDP will not start from the scratch to say we want to build again.
Yeah.
That's the way forward.
Well, I don't want to say I know the person you're talking about or some people you're talking about. But between you and I,
it's the truth. It's the truth.
It's crystal clear. Well,
Yeah.
that's the convenient point where we leave this segment of the show this morning. We say thank you for joining us on Daybreak Live. Today being the Monday edition, 20th of October 2025. All right, you can link up with us on all social media platforms, Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok at Dominion Broadcast, and on X, formerly Twitter, at Dominion Cast. You can watch us live on our website, www.dominion.org.ng. dominion.org.ng. Do well to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Click on the notification bell and you'll definitely get a notification when we come online. Now, let's go on a quick break. When we return, we'll take weather report. We'll be back.
Need a professional space to bring your vision to life? Dominion Television Studios offers state-of-the-art facilities perfect for your next broadcast, commercial, corporate video, or live event. With flexible rental options, cutting-edge equipment, and a supportive team, we provide the perfect environment for high-quality productions. Unleash your creativity. For bookings, email us at marketing@dominion.org.ng. Call us on 0705 506 1061 or 0916 101 1061. Check us out on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, and TikTok at Dominion Broadcast and on X at Dominion Cast. Book your space today. Dominion Television, your channel of choice.
Welcome back from that short break. The show is still Daybreak Live right here on Dominion Television. Now we take weather report on this show this morning. We start with the southwestern part of the country, and that is Oyo State this morning, Ibadan to be precise. And weather currently feels like 24 degrees Celsius in Ibadan this morning. And later in the morning, it will be mostly cloudy and rise to 28 degrees Celsius in Ibadan. It will also be mostly cloudy in the afternoon at 31 degrees Celsius. Partly cloudy in the evening at 25 degrees Celsius, and also partly cloudy overnight at 24 degrees Celsius in Ibadan today.
All right, Samson, give me my car keys. Let me drive down to Oshogo.
Very quickly.
Weather this morning feels like 24 degrees Celsius, and later this morning is expected to be around 27 degrees Celsius, cloudy around 2%. In the afternoon, 31 degrees Celsius, showers around 43%. And in the evening, 24 degrees Celsius, partly cloudy around 17%. And overnight, 23 degrees Celsius, cloudy around 10%. That's what we have for Oshogo, Osho State this morning.
Moving on to Ogun State this morning, that's Abeokuta to be precise. Weather currently feels like 24 degrees Celsius in Abeokuta. It will be cloudy later in the morning at 29 degrees Celsius, and there will be showers in the afternoon at 31 degrees Celsius in Abeokuta today. It will be partly cloudy in the evening and overnight at 26 degrees Celsius and 24 degrees Celsius respectively in Abeokuta today.
All right, let's drive down to Ekiti, southwest Ekiti this morning. Weather feels like 23 degrees Celsius, and later this morning is expected to be around 27 degrees Celsius, cloudy around 5%. In the afternoon, 29 degrees Celsius, few showers around 32%, and in the evening, 24 degrees Celsius, partly cloudy around 9%, and overnight, 22 degrees Celsius, cloudy around 10%. That's what we have for Ekiti South this morning.
All right, I will move to the center of excellence this morning, and that's Lagos State, as weather currently feels like 26 degrees Celsius in Lagos this morning. And later in the morning, it will be partly cloudy and rise to 28 degrees Celsius. In the afternoon, it will be mostly cloudy at 30 degrees Celsius, partly cloudy in the evening at 27 degrees Celsius, and overnight, also partly cloudy at 26 degrees Celsius in Lagos today.
All right, let's drive down to Ilorin, East Kwara. Weather this morning feels like 24 degrees Celsius, and later this morning is expected to be around 28 degrees Celsius, partly cloudy, around 2%, and in the afternoon, 33 degrees Celsius, mostly sunny, around 5%. In the evening, 26 degrees Celsius, partly cloudy, around 5%, and overnight, 24 degrees Celsius, mostly cloudy, around 9%. That's what we have for Ilorin, East Kwara this morning.
All right, moving on to the FCT this morning. Weather currently feels like 23 degrees Celsius in Abuja today, and later in the morning it will rise to 27 degrees Celsius, mostly cloudy in Abuja. Also, and mostly sunny in the afternoon at 31 degrees Celsius. It will be clear in the evening at 25 degrees Celsius and partly cloudy overnight at 23 degrees Celsius in Abuja today.
All right, let's cross over to Port Harcourt Rivers. Weather this morning feels like 21 degrees Celsius, and later this morning is expected to be around 24 degrees Celsius, showers around 49%. In the afternoon, 26 degrees Celsius, mostly cloudy around 18%. In the evening, 22 degrees Celsius, mostly cloudy around 9%. And overnight, 21 degrees Celsius, mostly cloudy around 9% as well. That's what we have for Port Harcourt Rivers this morning.
Right, I'm moving further up north this morning. Weather currently feels like 20 degrees Celsius in Kaduna North this morning. And later in the morning, it will be sunny at 28 degrees Celsius in Kaduna. By afternoon, it will be partly cloudy at 32 degrees Celsius. It will be clear in the evening and overnight at 24 degrees Celsius and 21 degrees Celsius, respectively, in Kaduna today.
Okay, finally for this morning, let's cross over to Kano. Weather feels like 19 degrees Celsius this morning. Later this morning is expected to be around 30 degrees Celsius, partly cloudy, around 0%. In the afternoon, 35 degrees Celsius, mostly sunny, around 0% as well. What's going on? In the evening, 25 degrees Celsius, clear, around 0% as well. And overnight, 20 degrees Celsius, clear, around 2%. That's what we have for Kano Municipal this morning.
All right, that will be all we can take on Weather Report this morning. We say thank you for being a part of the show so far. Do well to link up with us on all socials, Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok at Dominion Broadcast. And on X, follow Twitter at Dominion Cast. Let's go on a quick break. When we return, we'll take the news. We'll be back.
Need a professional space to bring your vision to life? Dominion Television Studios offers state-of-the-art facilities perfect for your next broadcast, commercial, corporate video, or live event. With flexible rental options, cutting-edge equipment, and a supportive team, we provide the perfect environment for high-quality productions. Unleash your creativity. For bookings, email us at marketing@dominion.org.ng. Call us on 0705 506 1061 or 0916 101 1061. Check us out on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, and TikTok at Dominion Broadcast and on X at Dominion Cast. Book your space today. Dominion Television, your channel of choice.
Live from the heart of the action. Welcome to the nerve center of Next Level Broadcasting.
This is the OB van, where the studio meets the street.
Equipped with cutting-edge cameras, crystal clear audio, real-time switching, and broadcast control, we don't just capture moments, we deliver the experience live.
Anywhere, anytime, from stadiums to red carpets, breaking news to buzzing festivals, weddings, birthdays, and all sorts of ceremonies. We bring the world to your screen in real time.
It's not just a van, it's a complete mobile production house, a command center, a broadcast beast.
This is more than a broadcast. This is the OB Van difference. Live, loud, limitless.
Ready to go live like never before? Book the OB van today and take your event to the world. One powerful broadcast at a time.
To book, call 0705 506 1061 or 0916 101 1061. Email marketing@dominion.org.ng or visit our socials on Instagram @Dominion Broadcast.
Dominion Broadcast, your channel of choice.
Good morning. This is Daybreak News on Dominion Television. I'm Oluwayemi Adelakun. The federal government has officially handed over 4 technical aid corps volunteers to the government of the Republic of Sierra Leone. The formal ceremony took place in Freetown, where Ambassador Anthony Ebipado, Chargé d'Affaires of the Embassy of Nigeria, officially presented the volunteers to Sierra Leonean authorities, who were represented by the Director of Education, J. Momo. According to a statement signed and released by the spokesperson for the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Kimiebi Ebiemfa, the 4 volunteers include 2 professors, 1 PhD holder, and 1 master's degree holder with expertise in law, medicine, and science. Meanwhile, the federal government has terminated the 43-kilometer Port Harcourt-Upper-bound road contract being handled by China Civil Engineering Construction Corporation over poor performance. The Minister of Works, David Umahi, disclosed these while speaking to newsmen shortly after an inspection of the project on Sunday, which claims that the government will scout for a competent indigenous contractor to take over the job and see to its completion. The government said the decision stemmed from the failure of the contractor to improve its works despite repeated warnings, which has led to the collapse of the project despite the huge funds expended on it. The federal government has clarified that English language and mathematics remain compulsory subjects for all students registering for their O-level examinations, despite the recent review of admission requirements into tertiary institutions. In a statement signed by Director of Press and Public Relations, Boriowo Falashade, and issued by the Federal Ministry of Education, the government said the new policy on streamlined admission criteria does not exempt any candidate from registering or sitting for the 2 core subjects. The Minister of Education, Dr. Maruf Tuji Alausa, explained that the reform was introduced to promote flexibility, inclusiveness and fairness in tertiary education admissions, ensuring that capable students are not denied access because of deficiencies in subjects unrelated to their chosen courses. The Nigeria Security and Civil Defense Corps, NSCDC FCT Command, has cautioned protesters to desist from vandalizing critical national assets and infrastructure in the territory during today's protest. The NSCDC FCT Commandant, Dr. Olushola Odumusu, said this during an interview in Abuja, where he called on citizens in support or against the planned rallies to adhere strictly to the provisions of the court order. He said that the Corps had massively deployed officers and men to protect all CNAI, as well as ensure the protection of residents across the FCT before, during and after the protest. The Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, has issued a notice of the November 8 governorship election in Anambra as required by the Electoral Act. INEC Public Relations Officer in the state, Mrs. Goma Lechuku, issued a notice in Oka confirming that the election would commence at 8:30 a.m. and end by 2:30 p.m., adding that each voter would vote at the center he or she registered. According to her, only persons whose names appear on the register of voters and have a valid voter's card are eligible to vote on that day. The crisis rocking the People's Democratic Party, PDP, has taken a new twist as the party's National Secretary, Senator Samuel Anyanwu, petitioned the Department of State Services, Inspector General of Police and the Independent National Electoral Commission over an alleged forgery of a signature, a development that further threatens the conduct of the party's planned November National Convention. A petition submitted to INEC, DSS and the IGP, Anyanwu, asserted that he never signed the August 29 letter to INEC regarding the November 15-16 National Convention. In a related letter to the Inspector General of Police, Anyanwu called for a thorough investigation and prosecution of those responsible. As preparations intensify for the 2025 edition of the Ogbomoso Credos Carnival, scheduled to hold from December 18 to 22, 2025, the ancient city of Ogbomoso is set to come alive once again with culture and color. Speaking at a press conference held at the Palace of the Show of Ogbomoso Land, the chairman of the planning committee, Honorable Segun Dokun Odebumi, described the carnival as one of the flagship initiatives of His Imperial Majesty Oba Gandhi Afolabi Olaoye Orumogege III. Similarly, the chairman of the Media and Publicity Subcommittee, Prince Dotun Oyelade, stated that the carnival was programmed for success right from inception, thereby calling on journalists to project its vision of unity, culture, and economic revival. In business, the Equipment Leasing Registration Authority, ERA, and the Bureau of Public Procurement, BPP, have signed a Memorandum of Understanding to integrate leasing into public procurement. Registrar Chief Executive Officer of ERA, Donald Wokoma, after the signing ceremony, said that through the MOU, ERA and BPP will jointly develop clear policy, guidelines, and standard document for lease-based procurement. In a statement by the head of Media and Corporate Communication of ERA, Adebola Brookslane, and Abuja, Wokoma, added that it would also build the capacity of procurement officers across ministries, departments and agencies, MDAs, and integrate ERA's registration system into the procurement workflow for improved accountability. And in sport for this morning, the legendary swagger of Ibadan football is fully restored as Shooting Stars FC delivered a commanding 2-0 win over Abia Warriors at the Lagos Salami Stadium, voting the Oluyole Warriors into the second spot on the MPFL table. Midfielder Ayobami Jr.'s first half strike set the tone before substitute Kama Adegoke sealed the victory 4 minutes from time, extending the club's formidable 5-match unbeaten run. This victory marks Shooting Stars' 4th win and 1 draw in their last 5 outings, a remarkable turnaround after a shaky start to the season. You can visit our website on www.dominion.org.ng to watch us live and interact with us. You can also follow us across our social media platforms, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, and LinkedIn at Dominion Broadcast and X at Dominion Cast. That's the Daybreak News. I'm Oluwayemi Adelako saying thank you for watching and good morning.
Live from the heart of the action. Welcome to the nerve center of Next Level Broadcasting.
This is the OB van, where the studio meets the street.
Equipped with cutting-edge cameras, crystal clear audio, real-time switching, and broadcast control, we don't just capture moments, we deliver the experience live.
Anywhere, anytime, from stadiums to red carpets, breaking news to buzzing festivals, weddings, birthdays, and all sorts of ceremonies. We bring the world to your screen in real time.
It's not just a van, it's a complete mobile production house, a command center, a broadcast beast.
This is more than a broadcast. This is the OB van difference. Live, loud, limitless.
Ready to go live? Like never before. Book the OB van today and take your event to the world. One powerful broadcast at a time.
To book, call 0705 506 1061 or 0916 101 1061. Email marketing@dominion.org.ng or visit our socials on Instagram @Dominion Broadcast.
Dominion Broadcast, your channel of choice.
Need a professional space to bring your vision to life? Dominion Television Studios offers state-of-the-art facilities perfect for your next broadcast, commercial, corporate video, or live event. With flexible rental options, cutting-edge equipment, and a supportive team, we provide the perfect environment for high-quality productions. Unleash your creativity. For bookings, email us at marketing@dominion.org.ng. Call us on 0705 506 1061 or 0916 101 1061. Check us out on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, and TikTok @Dominion Broadcast and on X @DominionCast. Book your space today. Dominion Television, your channel of choice.
Welcome you back. Thank you for staying with us this morning. This is newspaper headlines and analysis. And of course, I'm not alone in the studio. Soon enough, I'm going to introduce my analyst for this morning. Let's start from The Punch. I have this headline that says, Free Nnamdi Kanu protesters defy security warning, vow Villa March. And that headline asks this writer, opposition parties back protest. 115 lawyers, medics to join rally today. Kano's legal team fractured. It's a lot to unpack. Don't forget that October 20, 2020 is very historic in the history of Nigeria. We know what happened that day. But then soon enough, our analysts speak about that issue because a lot of persons are scared for this protest. Should it be hijacked by some persons who do not mean well for the country? Away from that headline, I also have this one that says PDP convention faces fresh setback over alleged signature forgery. The national secretary for the party, Samuel Ayawu, came out to say that a signature was forged. I think that was around August 29, and of course he came out recently to make that public to the people. And the case is in court as we speak now. He filed a petition, and then he's asking that necessary investigations should be done to ensure that people who are responsible for these are brought to book. Away from that headline, I also have this one that says Senate to grill NCAA, local airlines and safety breaches. That's a very good one. Oshibado leads ECOWAS team to monitor Cote d'Ivoire poll. Gunmen shoot bought dead in Lagos Barracks Market. Away from Punch, let's cross over to Daily Trust this morning. I have the headline that says PDP convention, Ayawu led signature forgery. I've spoken about that. Protests in the United States over Trump's policies. Don't forget that, even before now, a lot of persons complain bitterly about, some of the things that Trump is doing in the United States, how he's making so much enemy for himself and the United States as a country. Away from that headline, I also have this one that says, how terrorists killed 6 soldiers in Borno ambush. Nnamdi Kanu protesters dare police. I'm being optimistic about this protest. I just hope that it will go well, regardless of the fears of the people. And I want to encourage the security to monitor every move of the protesters. I'm quite sure that the protesters mean well. They just want to say some things to the government, the federal government, that will ensure the release of Nnamdi Kanu. I just hope, the people and the security operators will work together to achieve something good. It doesn't have to lead to violence at all. Away from that, let's cross over from Daily Trust to the Nation this morning. I have this headline that says PDP convention, Ayawu protest forgery in letter to INEC. Away from that, English maths compulsory for O-level, says federal government. Before now, a lot of persons complain bitterly that why is it that the federal government is trying to encourage, art students, from passing or doing excellently well in mathematics, because regardless of whether you are going to need it in the university or not, mathematics will make you sharp. So even if you are not going to need it, ensure that you pass it, and don't just pass it well. I think that should be what we should prioritize at this moment. Away from that headline, I also have this headline that says senator, actress wife accuse each other of drug abuse and violence. It's a lot to unpack between these two persons. I'm talking about Senator Ned Nwoko and his wife, actress Regina Daniels. Away from that, let's cross over from The Guardian. Let's cross over to The Guardian this morning. I have this headline that says coup denier not enough. Stem rising anxiety, discontent stakeholders tell federal government. Over the weekend, we got a story that talks about the fact that some persons have been detained for coup plot. Don't forget that this is not the first time that we are seeing something like this in the news or hearing something concerning coup, but then we thank the Lord that the people responsible for this planning have been detained. I also read a story that said that this was the same reason why the parade was cancelled for Independence Day, October 1st, because there were intels to say that some persons were planning to do something sinister, and of course the security operators were very proactive to have called for the cancellation of the parade to ensure that the life of the president and of course every other person that should have been on that parade ground, are kept safe. It's time to turn to my analyst this morning because of time. Welcome aboard, Oluseun Oluwole, a public affairs analyst. Good morning.
Nice to have me. Nice seeing you this day again.
Thank you so much. All right, let's start from PDP because I have it all over the papers that I have with me this morning. Ayawu came out recently to say that my signature was forged, and my concern is this signature was forged August 29. Today is October 20. What happened? Why is it that it is coming up now that the convention is so near, and he's filed a petition that if care is not taken, it might stop the convention from happening?
Now, from August to October, this issue like you said, has happened, or like you said, has happened in August. Now he's just coming out to say, okay, now this is October 20, now coming out to say, oh, my signature was forged. And so this, he has to write a letter to INEC for them to stem the process of the convention. Now, if you take a look at it, finding out that the signature was forged in August, there must have been stakeholders meeting underneath, which some members would have gone against, or some of them would have said, this is your signature, or this, no, it's not mine, this is not mine, so we have to go and do much forensic work on this and that. But when it seems that, okay, this thing is not playing out well, for him to, and for the other parties to involved, definitely will come out. This might have been a crack in the building, that mostly they have not come out to even, it has not been alleged, and most of them have not even come out to say, okay, we accept that something like this have happened. So it's shameful to say that the party chairman's signature was forged by who? By his aide or by somebody closer to him? Who could have forged your signature? For somebody to have forged your signature means there's something sinister going on in that party. And this could spell, this could mean why so many members of the party are moving away from the party. There's something actually wrong. Maybe there's something that needs to be brought to the table while everybody sit down and talk about it and iron it out. And it's not happening. And yet, they still want to go ahead with the convention so that they can know the key officers to go for election next year. So something must have been wrong there for you now to come out and say, okay, my signature has been forged. It has been done in October and in August. Now it's coming out to allege that, okay, my signature was forged. It has been known to him since August.
So why do you think he didn't mention it at that time? Not until now.
It will be a slap on his face to now come and say, somebody forged my signature. But now that things are not working out well for the party, and I think they need to still sit down and go back to the drawing board. Instead of us going forward to have a convention, let us still sit back and still try and meddle out what has actually gone wrong with our party. Not even going forward for convention. How many members are even left in PDP that they are saying they want to hold the convention? How many? So there's something they still need to sit down and take a look at, not just rushing into a convention. He might have seen that from his own perspective, that we don't need this convention. And somebody behind went, let's go forward with it. Now he's coming out to allege that, oh, for the purpose of convention, my signature has been forged, so I think we should INEC, please put a stop to it and get it. That is it. That is what has happened. That is what I think has happened here. Something is actually wrong. Some people want to go forward. Some people want to sit. Let's sit back and relax. We are dwindling. The party is dwindling. It's reducing. How many members do we still have? We need to sit down. Let's hold the party. Let's hold forth. I don't see convention. What are they? How many of them?
But they are still members of the PDP.
If we talk about the grassroots, there are still many, many foot soldiers. But key officers, the governors, how many are they?
They still have governors. They have Shema in your state. They have Lawal in Zamfara.
Mind you, she is an outgoing governor.
Yes, he is.
So let's say if he doesn't go for any other political appointment or political party or political position or whatever, where does he stand? How many governors will remain? How many National Assembly members do they still hold there?
Whether he remains a governor or not, once he's done with his tenure, don't you think he's a big shot in the PDP?
He's still a big shot. Still a big shot. So going for the convention now, he might still have some swings to that. He might still want to pull towards some candidates of his own that he might want to present. in your state here and in the national, on the stage level too. So, of course, they might still want to have the convention, but feel the crack first. Feel the crack first. For you now, for the party chairman now to say that my signature has been forged, that means there is a notion that you are not following, you are not going along with some members. With some members. And some members, they may feel that without your signature, we can't go forward. Then somebody might have gone behind you to forge your signature. Okay. As it may, they are at loggerheads.
The case is in court.
It's in court. So let's be hopeful, or let's keep our fingers crossed towards that. But one thing, for some people to afford your signature, to produce such a document, means you are on the wrong side of the divide.
Or you're not firm enough.
You are not firm enough, or you are not following what they need to. You are not seeing their picture. They are not seeing yours. The two of you have different perspectives to the matter that is on ground. Let's go forward. No, let's stay behind. So somebody somewhere went forward to do that. So there's still a crack in the party. Okay,
let's fold our hands just like you mentioned and see whether the convention will hold or not.
Or not.
Let's talk about education. I have this headline that says federal government reverses policy on math as parents, teachers protest. Because myself, when I heard the news, I was shocked. Because I know that a lot of art students do not like mathematics. But then I have friends, while I was in school, who I love with mathematics regardless of that. So it makes your brain sharp. I mean, imagine if you graduate and then you cannot do simple calculation.
Arithmetic or
because you didn't pay attention to mathematics in secondary school.
Because you just thought, they said we don't need it.
Was it a good idea in the first place to say that, okay, it's not necessary if you want to do any course in humanities or
Before
arts?
I even talk on mathematics, there have been so many policies that has contravened the normal norms of what academics should be in Nigeria.
Okay.
One of those things that we toy with in Nigeria that always pains me much or most is academics. Just last week, there was a publication that says JAMB is no longer required for admission into our tertiary institutions. Like seriously, when did that come up to be? How can that be? Then, what will be the yardstick for institutions not to measure or not to carry out admissions of students?
I think it will still be on the review. I don't think you can be final.
It should be.
Yeah.
Now, days after, another publication came out that mathematics no longer required or not compulsory for art students anymore.
This is an attack on education. If you are not saying it that way.
Again, what is going on here? Now, do you want to tell me that right from nursery school or the primary school, we are saying, oh, don't even bother to teach our words or our children arithmetic. Or like we have it then, some additional whatever. Then we now call it arithmetic, from arithmetic to mathematics. Do you not say, okay, from primary level, let's scrap. It's not even compulsory. So if he doesn't know how to count 1 to 3, that shouldn't bother us. 5 plus 5 is equal to 25. It shouldn't bother you now. It doesn't need it. Who are you to tell us what they need? Are you trying to withdraw us from the international? We are dwindling internationally. We are losing our ranking in academics. If you are now telling me mathematics is no longer required, and while the world out there, they are going technologically, they are technologically now inclined, going further, you are now saying we should come down. We should now go low. Because that mathematics that we need for technology, that we need for so many things, is no longer required. Being an art student doesn't mean you don't have to do mathematics. I have a nephew who was just called to the bar. And he had A1 in mathematics. He graduated from the University of Ife. Now, he was just called to bar 2 months ago. And he excelled well in mathematics. And I will look at him, Abolu, how come? I'm your uncle, self. I wanted to do law, but at the end of the day, my own mathematics was P, and then it was, my dad was, you just must pass that mathematics. Although I didn't really need it then to study law. At the end of the day, I got admitted into the Ogun State University, diploma law. But it was still required.
That should be the standard, really.
Law was still required. So now, don't come out and tell us that some of those things that we are the one making this, the coming generation, we are the one making things hard for them.
Okay.
We are the ones. Although it might look hard for us then, but it paved the way for us. Some things, a lot of things were done right. Now we are trying to circumvent a lot of things. This generation, no, you don't need it. No, they do.
It's sad, and thank God that the federal government is trying to review the old.
They will, they must, they
should come back.
They should review that. They should review that because.
So this is to the art students who might have been rejoicing hearing that news. Please,
I don't think there will be any art student that will even rejoice that, because if you take away mathematics from them, you give them something much harder. Most of them don't like geography.
So just do your maths and pass.
Just do your maths and pass. Most of them don't like geography.
Okay, let's talk about something else. I have this headline that says, coup denier, not enough, stem rising anxiety, discontent, stakeholders tell federal government. Some persons are trying to inform the federal government that, okay, the fact that you are able to, guess these people does not mean that you should not work on certain things. So a lot of persons are angry about the state of the nation. And I recall that, a time came in Nigeria where some coups were successful. We had, Palace coup, we had Kanta coup, about 5 successful coups. But the Nigeria of today, I don't think we even need a coup. But then how do we appease the people, that are angry, at this point in time, according to the stakeholders saying that, okay, the federal government should begin to look at how, they can ease the burdens of the people to stop issues like this from coming up again.
When I first heard about that, what came to my mind was there are a lot of people that won't understand your policies, Tinubu, the president.
Okay.
Of course, let's say bureaucratically and with some level of people working with you, and at a point, some people might understand your policies, but not the average market woman, not the average market or the farmer or the meat seller, people that are directly hit by the current economy stability. Yeah, the IMF will come out and tell us, oh, our inflation sort of have reduced and the policies are okay. How many of our people read the papers? How many of them even... Nigeria is a country where we have more illiterates, more than the literates. Even some literates are not even... you could classify them as illiterates.
They're passive about
what's going on. They are just passive. They are passive about what's going on. So if things are not taken into consideration, and we keep hearing a lot of things concerning political office holders, how much they earn and what is going on with the normal people out there, you tend to think as if this government is not even concerned about the everyday layman, every layman out there, the normal class people. Now we have 2 classes of people in Nigeria. It's either you are poor, it's either you are rich. No average anymore. So if some things are not taken into consideration, like some stakeholders says, you will still have some set of people, some group of people, some splinter cells that might even be nurturing the idea behind in their minds that we can take over. And when we do, at least it has been done in Mali, in Burkina Faso, in some West African states, and nothing has happened, and they are living large, and some people welcome the idea that military should take over. If we are not careful, if this regime or whatever, the administration is not careful, things like that, once it goes out there, some people will welcome the idea, and they will back it up. And when they do, because they believe that when they take over, the normal people out there, they won't see they won't see the negative impact of the coup, of going back to the military era. They won't feel that, but they will just be glad that, oh, at least we will have relief for the next 1 month or 2 months or 3 months or 6 months. Rice will come down, this will come down, the military will open borders, they will do this, they will do that. So this is the normal idea that we back it up. So if care is not taken, and the government need to go proactive on its own policies and do more for the people, things like this will come up again. Trying to stem it, oh, due to intel, we quickly gather that there's something like this want to happen. You stem it or you nip it in the bud. What about the ones you won't get lucky with? That might just be, let's put it this way. What if there are splinter cells? And this is just one of them. And this is just one of the groups for you to be distracted.
I believe the security operators on this matter, especially when something like this, has been discovered.
I believe our intel should be working on it. But rather than security operatives, let us put up measures that will ease the burden of the normal people. Of course, your policies might be good. IMF might be saying this, the World Bank might be saying that, the WHO might be, but let it be felt by the normal people.
Okay.
Let it be felt when they feel that there's a change, a positive change to their normal way of life, and things are changing. People won't even think of, so many people won't even think about talking about coup in the first place. And now some people are now coming out to now advise you, these are what you need to do.
Okay.
So that things like this won't come up again. That means a lot of people might be nurturing that or nursing that at the back of their mind. It's not just military people that we want to take over power. What about the coalition? A set of people have now come. That is, we just need to be careful about the way we do things. Because even the coalition today are bent on, they are bent on taking power at all costs.
It's a lot to unpack, and of course, I just want to believe that those responsible for finding out information about this whole cool thing are on the matter, and I just hope that things will get better for the people of Nigeria. A big thanks to you for being a part of this segment today, Olushe Oluwale, the public affairs analyst.
Thanks.
All right, and a big thanks to the audience also for joining the segment. This is the point where we take a short break, and when we come back, this story will come up. My name is Oluwayemi Adelakwa. I'm saying thank you.
Live from the heart of the action. Welcome to the nerve center of Next Level Broadcasting.
This is the OB van, where the studio meets the street.
Equipped with cutting-edge cameras, crystal clear audio, real-time switching, and broadcast control, we don't just capture moments, we deliver the experience live.
Anywhere, anytime, from stadiums to red carpets, breaking news to buzzing festivals, weddings, birthdays, and all sorts of ceremonies. We bring the world to your screen in real time.
It's not just a van, it's a complete mobile production house, a command center, a broadcast beast.
This is more than a broadcast. This is the OB Van difference. Live, loud, limitless.
Ready to go live? Like never before. Book the OB van today and take your event to the world. One powerful broadcast at a time.
To book, call 0705 506 1061 or 0916 101 1061. Email marketing@dominion.org.ng or visit our socials on Instagram @Dominion Broadcast.
Dominion Broadcast, your channel of choice.
Need a professional space to bring your vision to life? Dominion Television Studios offers state-of-the-art facilities perfect for your next broadcast, commercial, corporate video, or live event. With flexible rental options, cutting-edge equipment, and a supportive team, we provide the perfect environment for high-quality productions. Unleash your creativity. For bookings, email us at marketing@dominion.org.ng. Call us on 0705 506 1061 or 0916 101 1061. Check us out on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, and TikTok @Dominion Broadcast and on X @DominionCast. Book your space today. Dominion Television, your channel of choice.
Good morning and welcome to the big story on Daybreak Live, where we dissect the issues that shape our nation and challenge our collective conscience. Today we'll navigate one of the most sensitive and defining questions in our democratic experience: national security versus the rule of law. Where should the balance tilt? At the heart of this conversation lies a dilemma. How do we protect the state without undermining the very laws that define it? In recent years, Nigeria has witnessed several instances where the tension between national security and the rule of law has been tested. From continued detention of individuals despite court orders, such as the cases involving former National Security Advisor Sambo Dasuki and the leader of the indigenous people of Biafra, Nnamdi Kanu, to the controversial invasion of judges' homes and security operatives. The nation continues to grapple with where to draw the line. This moment have raised critical questions about constitutional supremacy, human rights, and the discretionary powers of state security agencies. To help us unpack and, of course, make sense of it all, we are joined by a man whose voice carries both authority and experience in matters of law, governance, and civic accountability, Barrister Wale Ojoge Daniel, a seasoned public affairs analyst, human rights activist, and a barrister at law. He will be helping us unpack this delicate balance. When security and justice clash, which one should take precedence? Thank you for joining us on the show this morning. This is The Big Story. I'm Barrister Wale Ojogeda is here with me in the studio. Good to have you here once again.
Yeah, it's my pleasure to be here, and I say good morning to all Nigerians listening to us.
Thank you for joining us. Now, this is a very difficult topic, and it's a very sensitive one. National security versus the rule of law. Where should the balance tilt?
Well, the constitutional dichotomy has been a persistent one, both under the military and democratic regime. First and foremost, I would like to look at what is even the rule of law. At least for the purpose of those listening to us, they want to understand what the rule of law means. What does national security means? National security is an enduring responsibility of the state to safeguard its sovereignty, stability, and collective well-being of its citizens and institutions against both external and internal threats, using lawful means consistent with the constitutional order. I say consistent with the constitutional order because the Constitution represents what we call the ground norm, that is highest law. And this position is fortified when you look at Section 1, subsection 1 of the Constitution, that says, this Constitution shall be supreme. Now, talking about rule of law could be defined as a constitutional doctrine that emphasizes the supremacy of the Constitution as administered by legally constituted and impartial law courts. But there are three ingredients to rule of law. One is equal subjection of all citizens and institutions before the law of the land. That is equality before the law. The second one is called supremacy of the Constitution as enshrined under Section 1, subsection 1 of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, 1999, as amended. The third one talks about the independence of the three arms of government: the judiciary, the legislature, and the executive. So the topic before us actually underscores, the constant and usual, dichotomy or dilemma between constitutionalism and executive overreach. Which one prevails? In a nutshell, it should be a measured equilibrium, but the scale is always in favor of the rule of law. Because when you talk about a secure state without rule of law, then you are talking about a prison of fear. When you talk about, a law guided by rule of law without security, then that is anarchy by freedom. So it's always a measured equilibrium. And there is a plethora of authorities. Our courts have always, tilted the scale in favor of rule of law. And a very low-cost classical that comes to my mind is Lacomi's case. That was in 1966, when the military took over and confiscated his properties. Lacomi and other, versus Attorney General of Western States. In fact, that represents, the high moral ground of constitutionalism. Because the court stood its ground that no emergency, no necessity can permit the government to suspend the rule of law. Even though in 1970, the military government went ahead to promulgate another decree. Since we operate the doctrine of stare decisis et non quae movere, we follow established rules so that will not become the precedent. It will not serve as the precedent. So the military regime went ahead in 1970 and promulgated a decree to nullify the importance of that precedent set in Lacomi's case.
Okay, very quickly, there's this particular question I would love to ask you very quickly. Many argue that both national security and the rule of law are pillars of national stability. Now, one seems to, just like you said earlier, that, the rule of law most times takes the upper hand when it comes to the case of national security. Now, Why is that balance difficult to maintain? In some cases, there are court injunctions and still not followed.
Yes, both the rule of law and the national security are like, they are co-pillars that ought to coexist for the sustenance of our constitutional architecture. And why it is essential that the rule of law prevails is because there is that instinct on part of the government to preserve itself, not just the state. This time around, the government of the day will use the doctrine of necessity, national interest, in order to justify, some atrocities. Look at the case you just mentioned now, that of Dasuki. Court is the first and the last hope of the common man. The court is to interpret the law. And everybody, including institutions of government, should be bound by the decisions of the court. When you look at Section 36, subsection 5 of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria as amended, it makes it clear, categorical and unequivocal, that every accused person is presumed innocent until his guilt is proved. So the moment somebody has not been adjudged guilty, the position of the law, the balance tilts in the favor of that person, because he's still a suspected person. And the law says, equi affirmat non equi negat incubi probatio. Affirmanti non neganti incubi probatio. The burden of proof is on he who alleges and not he who denies. So Section 36(5) is germane in this instance, to the effect that the state has no right to detain an individual in clear contravention and abjuration of court order when that person has not been convicted. That reminds me of this principle of law that is settled. This principle of law says, "Tuchos semper es errare acquitendo, quam impugnendo es parte misericordiam, quam es parte justitia." That it is safer to allow 12 guilty men to go scot-free than to punish an innocent soul. That serves but to corroborate the connotation and denotation of the ingredient in Section 36(5) of the Constitution that talks about the presumption of innocence.
Now, is there such thing like too much security in a democracy and too much freedom under the rule of law?
Yes, like I said ab initio, it should be a measured equilibrium, right? Because a secured state without rule of law is a prison of fear. And when you talk about, unfettered rights too, then you are bringing anarchy by freedom. But we have to look at the essence of the state. The essence of the state as enshrined in Section 14, subsection 2b of the Constitution makes it clear that the primary purpose of government shall be the security and welfare of the people. Security and welfare of the people. When you expand that section, you come to realize that it's not actually talking about primarily about welfare of the states, but like Yoruba will say, ara orokun, ara oradiye, they are intertwined. If the state in which you live is chaotic, you cannot even enjoy your rights. If your rights, your inalienable rights are taken away, then the state becomes, that of tyranny. So I say that it should be a measured equilibrium.
What role should the judiciary play when executive actions threaten the very pillars that holds the rule of law?
Yes, like I just said now, that Lacomi's case in 1966 represents the high moral ground of constitutionalism. It was a brief attempt to call the bluff of the state that no emergency can justify the invocation of doctrine of necessity. without proportionality and lawful justification. So the role of the judiciary is to preserve the law of the land, to interpret and preserve the law of the land. We have three arms of government: the legislature, the executive, and the judiciary. The executive implements. The legislature makes the law. The judiciary interprets the law. So the role of the judiciary is very fundamental. The role of judiciary is fundamental, and that is why it is said that judiciary is the first and last hope of the common man. So where, a government treats the order of courts with levity and impunity, then the state is sliding into authoritarianism or tyranny.
Do you think the Nigerian security agencies are trained enough or educated enough to know the limits of their power under the law? Putting some cases into context in the country as we speak.
Well, I don't want to answer that question in the affirmative. Right? My answer, tilts towards the negative.
Okay.
It is not my opinion that they are well trained, because from my years of practice of law, I've come across, some officers who don't even know their left from their right hand. Some time ago, I met a police officer who went to apprehend a suspect. Unfortunately, he didn't meet him, and he arrested his brother. And I told him, this is right. He said, this is the way we've been doing it. I said, that you have been doing something wrong is not a justification for doing the wrong.
So when they arrest the brother, the other one will come to the police station.
You can see,
so
and that is extrajudicial. That is unconstitutional. When you look at the Administration of Justice Act, it makes it clear that you cannot arrest A in lieu of B. You can't arrest by proxy.
There was a situation recently where the mother was arrested because the boy was not found.
It happens. That's why I am contending that the answer to your question is not in the affirmative, but in the negative, that most of them are not trained. Most of them lack the requisite knowledge of law.
Do you think 6 months is enough to train a police officer in the current situation? We have seen police officers who, after that particular training, they have not gone for any training or retraining after that, and they are practicing. They are still in the service.
Yes. Leopard doesn't change its color. Even when you train them for 6 years. You see, when you set a table and a chair for a Nigerian, you make him a thin god. When you go to the police environment, justice environment, you see that aura of, they wear that toga of God. They are in law civil servants, but they turn themselves into civil masters. So when you get to their environment, they're always like this. So you hardly can change that mentality. Then I have come to realize that there is even that of knowledge. An average Nigerian, with due respect, is an ignoramus. He doesn't even know his right hand from his left hand. I was on a program some time ago where I made it clear that Nigerians are not entitled to good things. Nigerians are not in law entitled to good governance. Nigerians in law are not entitled ex debito justitia, that is as of right, to democratic dividends.
Why did you say that?
Because we go by the law. Law is an instrument of social control. When you look at the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, Section 1, subsection 1 says, this law shall be supreme. That is, whatever we do, we are bound by it. It goes ahead to insert Chapter 2. Just like the Chapter 4 I mentioned now, Fundamental Rights, Section 33 to Section 44. Those are enforceable rights. But when you look at Chapter 2, it's a beautiful masterpiece that talks about, I mean, how Nigerians should be entitled to good life, housing facility, free education, health, and so on and so forth. Beautiful masterpiece. That is the document that guarantees your right to good governance. But it goes ahead to insert what we call ouster clause in section 6, subsection 6C of the same constitution, that the first and the last hope of the common man, that is the judiciary, must not talk about chapter 2. That is silencing the judiciary in terms of interpretation of chapter 2, in terms of giving effect and efficacy to the provisions of chapter 2. So legally speaking, jurisprudentially speaking, it means chapter 2 is cosmetic, redundant, and not in existence. The corollary, connotation, and denotation is that Nigerians are not ex debito justitia, that is, as of right, entitled to good life, because the government is not accountable to Nigerians.
When the judiciary cannot hold them
accountable.
Okay, you mentioned something earlier about security operatives, being demigods in their environment. Now, how do we break that yoke, and whose responsibility is it?
Well, in my view, I've always canvassed this argument that it is time we try to modify the doctrine of vicarious liability, because it has always been used both as a shield and sword against the citizens the security agents are meant to protect. What do I mean? If an officer of the state wrongs you, he has almost nothing to lose because he's an agent of the state. So the state is vicariously responsible for his wrongdoing. It is time now that we look at, reforming that law so that erring officers can actually be held personally accountable
for their wrongdoing. This happens in...
How many officers have been charged to court with assault? And they assault civilians on daily basis. Go to the police station and see the way they assault civilians with levity and impunity.
In advanced countries like the United Kingdom, the US, it's almost all the time it's in the news that one police officer or the other are being prosecuted for crimes committed, even while in the uniform.
Yes.
But that hasn't happened in Nigeria.
It really happens.
But we sometimes see videos of police officers, even soldiers, being disarmed. But then what happens after that?
There's what I call scapegoating. Sometimes the AIMS man might scapegoat some officers just to protect his integrity and his office. It happens. So if you are caught on camera, as an officer misbehaving, you might be in for it.
Okay, so in your experience on the field, does the Nigerian Constitution protect the interest of the Nigerian people? And the rule of law, is it just a slogan or an actual practice in the country as we speak?
Yeah, talking about the interest of Nigerian people, we have to streamline. You see, we have to narrow it down. What precisely are we saying? If we are talking about some rights like right to life, right to liberty, right to dignity, I'm talking about those rights encapsulated in Chapter 4 of the Constitution. They are stricto sensu enforceable. These are rights you can enforce. Take, for instance, under Section 35 of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria 1999 as amended, it is made clear that the power of the police to detain a suspected person in respect of a bailable offense or non-capital offenses is limited to 24 hours, where there is a court within a radius of 40 kilometers. In the absence of that, there is that power to detain beyond 24 hours and the maximum is 48 hours. If you are detained beyond 48 hours, in respect of minor offenses like assault, occasioning harm, stealing, and co., you are protected by virtue of Section 36 sub 5. You are an innocent person. So by virtue of that, you are still entitled to the paraphernalia of rights that an innocent person is entitled to. So the police cannot detain you for more than 24 hours, in other cases 48 hours. If this happens, the prescription of the Constitution is to come back. All right, lex non cogit ad impossibilia. The law itself does not command impossibility. So usually what happens is revolt.
So what are the things we can consider as threats to the people, engineered by the state?
One, poverty. Poverty is a threat to life. And that's why I've always held this, position that the government we have in this country, not the present government alone, we can describe governance in Nigeria as genocide in slow motion.
Genocide in slow motion.
In slow motion. Where politicians, the people I call politicians, distribute okadas as a form of empowerment. Go to the hospital and see the way bikers, the riders, die on daily basis. Even the people they pick, the way they die, a lot of people have been injured. Is that not genocide? Is giving okada a form of reasonable empowerment? Where the government is looking the other way and not able to give effect and efficacy to the law of the land, vis-a-vis people coming onto the street to beg for arms. When this is being criminalized, it is an offense for you to come onto the street and be begging for arms. But because the state is aware that it has failed the people, so the state has endorsed poverty.
Have you been to Mokola roundabouts lately? Have you been to Sabo? Have you been to Ochaoba?
That is just to tell you
Those are the
that,
headquarters.
yeah, so that is to tell you that this is what in law we call res ipsa loquitur, the fact that speaks for itself. When you go to those areas you just mentioned, you will know that the Nigerian state has endorsed poverty, because the people there, are not supposed to be there. In law, what they are doing is wrong, right? But the state cannot act, because the state know that is the cause of poverty. Aristotle says poverty is the mother of revolution and crime. So the poverty engendered by the state led to the commission of the crime, vis-a-vis coming onto the street to beg for arms in clear violation of the provision of the criminal code. And the state cannot do anything. So because the state lacks the moral authority to punish what it has brought into being, which is poverty.
Now, with the current situation of things, is there change in sight, especially when you said that poverty has been weaponized in Nigeria? Would there ever be any form of change?
Well, I would want to use the position of Amita Letsione, a renowned political scientist. He says, politics is a game of the elite, and masses will remain a pawn. The meaning is that the beneficiaries of an evil status quo are forever committed to its preservation. Paul Biya ruled for 43 years. He wants to continue to rule, despite, having brought his people into, a state of penury and poverty. That is to tell you that your oppressor would not want to let go. This underscores the significance, the purpose, and the importance of the position enunciated by the former American president, J.F. Kennedy, that those who make peaceful changes impossible make violent changes inevitable. This underscores the emerging threat of revolution, threat of revolt, which is always a corollary, which is always a necessity, where people are being treated with impunity. Their rights are being taken away with impunity. Politicians have arrogated to themselves, ownership of the resources of Nigeria. When you look at the FAC, that is a Federal Allocation Committee, now, the data collected there says about 70 or 75% of what we earn in Nigeria goes, takes care of the cost of governance. Now they are talking about creation of more states. Is that not genocidal? Because it means what is even being left? About 25%.
For the people.
For the people, like, will be taken away. That means your roads the network of roads will deteriorate the more, even though we don't even have good roads. Right? It means that, the state of the hospital now, which is like death clinic, will deteriorate. Go to our public schools. Politicians don't send, they cannot eat what they give to Nigerians. The schools they want Nigerians to attend, they cannot send their own children there. When they become ill, they cannot even, just for mere headache, they travel abroad. Do you know that they don't even use the Nigerian formulation? That is drugs. Right. So how do you describe this class of people, this crop of politicians? I look at Africa, and I have my respect for very few people. We say democracy is beautiful. Yes, beautiful. Since I came to this planet Earth, I've seen just one man who stands as primus inter pares non secundum, first among his equals, second to none. That is the late sage, Chief Obafemi Awolowo. Because the system is like a stage. Just like this is a stage now. If you bring different analysts, they will have different opinions. Right. So the problem is not with the system, it's about leadership. Awolowo was able to perform excellently. Now it's being studied all over. Under the same system where others failed. We say democracy is beautiful. If not for Jerry Rawlings, today Ghanaians would have remained our slaves. Because I remember in those days, I would just stand at my balcony and say, hey, Sobata. Because they were migrating away from Ghana. Until somebody came and liquidated the old order. I think he executed 3 of his predecessors to send jitters down the spine.
They sink down.
Yes. Today, electricity in Ghana is not something you can compare with Nigeria. We say democracy is beautiful. But in Africa today, do you know that no democratic regime could ever match what the man you call a tyrant did in Libya?
Muammar Gaddafi.
Muammar Gaddafi gave all the Libyan citizens free education. And if you have to go abroad, the state will foot, yes. And that is the man you call a tyrant. The West liquidated him because the West would never want Africa to develop. They say you want independent Africa. That was why they killed Gaddafi, not because he did not do well. No democratic
I'll bring you back on this show to unpack this particular topic and how the West underdeveloped Africa. That's one thing we'll talk about. This is an extensive topic on its own, and we cannot take that on the show this morning as our time is fast spent. Thank you for joining us on the show this morning.
Well, it's my pleasure. I'm always ready and mentally fortified.
Thank you for joining us. All right, when the state is ready, the people are ready. That will be the convenient point to draw the curtains on today's edition of The Big Story on Daybreak Live. Thank you for being a part of the show so far.
Need a professional space to bring your vision to life? Dominion Television Studios offers state-of-the-art facilities perfect for your next broadcast, commercial, corporate video, or live event. With flexible rental options, cutting-edge equipment, and a supportive team, we provide the perfect environment for high-quality productions. Unleash your creativity. For bookings, email us at marketing@dominion.org.ng. Call us on 0705 506 1061 or 0916 101 1061. Check us out on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, and TikTok at Dominion Broadcast and on X at Dominion Cast. Book your space today. Dominion Television, your channel of choice.
All right, welcome back from that short break. The show is still Daybreak Live right here on Dominion Television, your channel of choice, where inspiration meets entertainment. Now it's time for Trend Watch on the show this morning, where we bring you buzzing news on social media. And it's, of course, buzzing this morning. Oluwayemi Adelakun is still here.
I'm glad to be back. Well done. And we have the story that says, don't move close to Aso Rock, please warn Sowore and others. And of course, some other places we also mentioned to say do not move close to these areas. And as we speak now, some places in Abuja are blocked due to the protests. And it's a big one, because I was just talking about it this morning with my analyst to say that I just hope this protests will go free and fair. But then the reverse is the case, because I watched a video online where Sowore had to run so much because tear gas was fired, and some persons said they even heard gunshots at that point. People had to run for their dear lives because of all of these things happening. It is sad to see that we have gotten to this point, really. You
see, it's sometimes one of the measures to be used by the people to get what they want from the government is actually protest. But unfortunately, in recent times, we have seen situations where these issues get out of hand. We have seen protests being hijacked by hoodlums, and no government would want a repeat of what happened, October. That was 2020. Yes. That was the NSAS protest. So no one would want a repeat of that. And to mitigate that, sometimes the security agencies will come out to say, oh, we don't want you to do this, we don't want you to do that. And if you want to do this, these are ways, these are guidelines you must follow. And that's one of the reasons why the police came out yesterday to say, look, we do not want you close to these particular properties in the country, the Aso Rock, the National Assembly, and a few other places that were mentioned.
Eagle Square,
Eagle Square too. I mean, they had a reason for saying that. And obviously, it's really becoming more of a problem now. Sometimes the people think that even when they protest, the government does not listen, and sometimes governments think that the people are overbearing in one way or the other when it comes to making some requests to the government. And it's really, really sad that we are getting to see this again. We have seen protests in some countries these days turn violent. I mean, Rajurina recently, had an issue, and then, it became more of a problem than even the people that protested. It was more than what they thought it was going to be. I mean, that's a big challenge. And, the president right now, what we'll be thinking right now is for the country to move forward, you have to maintain peace and order. And we cannot get that when there is, radical protest out there. So someone has to put things in check. But I'm not a supporter of, the government coming out guns blazing just to disperse protesters. I mean, that's uncalled for. There are several other ways to get that done. And, just like you said, Sowore running a basket, and not just Sowore, there are a lot of people out there who just wanted to protest and say, look, these are the things, these are the requests we have. Though some of these requests, are not hinged on the capacity of the president alone. I mean, the National Assembly also has to be in the know. There was the Free Nnamdi Kanu arrangement. There are so many things that were done. Even in Finland, Simon Ekpa was prosecuted and was jailed. And if that is the same issue being done in Nigeria, I think the people should let the court of law. Though you can ask for speedy process in the court. But then free name is not the case now. I mean, the case is in court and it should be addressed as such.
Definitely. I think you're very spot on. And one of the major things that have also, led to some persons coming out to say we are going to be part of this protest is the issue of, Nnamdi Kanu asking for better healthcare system. And according to NMA, it was said that his health challenge, will not stop him from standing trial. And according to the wife, who came out, I think, last week to say that that NMA report is not a valid report because according to her husband is terribly sick and needs, urgent medical attention apart from the one he can get, with the DSS or within the DSS, environment. So that is part of the issue because I saw the clerics. Because if you watch the video, I saw clerics and then they all had to run at that point when, tear gas, was fired, at the scene. So it's a very sad one. I just want to hope that the federal government, apart from, the IG and the other persons coming out to say that, okay, do not move close to this area. After today, things must be sorted because, I mean, if people are to die because of this protest, at the end of the day, it's counterproductive. Right. Because, I mean, what's the essence of, saying we want to protest when people will have to lose their lives? I just hope at the end of the day, no one will lose their lives on the spot. And then I want to believe that, this can be sorted. Just like you said, can we look for ways to speed up this trial? Maybe that's why a lot of persons are angry. Because, I mean, it's been years now.
Maybe it's taking far too long, and some people can't wait for that to happen. I mean, sometimes it does feels like that. Not just Nnamdi Kanu. Don't forget that Sambo Dasuki has also been on trial for a long time since the President Muhammadu Buhari regime. So I think these not just we are talking about this because these are high-profile names. How about an individual from Ibadan, from Oyo, who is undergoing trial and is taken for so long? Yeah. This should be looked into. I think we don't have enough judges in the country. Maybe the government should look into making pronouncements as regards getting more judges, and then there should be more courtrooms. Sometimes when you look at from session to session, go to court, you see that from one minute to the other, there are court cases at courtrooms. They are busy, always busy. So if we have more courtrooms and cases are sped up, I think we'll begin to have a more fluid, issue-based being discussed at the court. It will be fluid and people will get out of court as quick as possible. I think that
okay, let's drop this info before we go. Omo Elisha reposted about 40 minutes ago to say the police team deployed to brutalize Free Nnamdi Kanu now protesters arrested as well as innocent bystanders. They were beaten and taken to the FCT command. The police must release them immediately.
That's another big statement. But then very quickly, let's take one or two comments on that particular one. Yes. Daniel Samuel Friday says, Omo, this is serious wahala. No boot.